Okay, students, now we're talking about graphing. And one thing that students don't seem to understand very well is when they're discussing graphing, that they spend too much time worrying about the actual picture rather than the algebra that's behind it. So one thing I want you to understand is if you have something like, oh, I don't know, 2x plus 3y equals 6, okay? Here's the thing. This is still an equation. And if I'm in algebra, I'm trying to solve this equation. A couple things I want to make clear to you. The first thing I want to make clear to you is you are not able to solve unless you have one variable. See, I have two variables here, and they're both working together to equal 6. The second idea I want you to understand is if I have two variables and they're working together, there's a whole range of answers here. They work together in lots of different combinations. And that's what the line is for. What the line does is it shows me all the combinations of answers I can have. Well, let's go back to the first idea. The first idea is telling me, well, okay, I can solve this, but I can only solve for one variable. Well, but I have two variables. How am I going to get from two variables to one variable? Well, the first thing you can do is I can substitute. And the great thing is, since they work together, I can come up with one number whenever I want. So if they work together, what number should I pick to substitute? I always love the number 0. Why would I like the number 0? Well, if I use the number 0, let's say I replace y with 0. If I replace y with 0, what happens? Well, nothing. 3 times 0 is 0, right? So I'm just left with like some ridiculously simple equation to solve. I just divide by 2 on both sides. Okay. There we go. See? X equals 3. Don't also forget that y equals 0. Why does y equal 0? Well, y equals 0 because I decided to replace y with 0. The only way you're allowed to replace y with 0 is because they're equal to each other. And guess what, kids? That is a coordinate. See, what you didn't quite realize about coordinates are another way to represent an answer. See, x equals 3, y equals 0. Let's say for the sake of argument, x equals 5 and y equals 2. Well, then I write the coordinate 5, 2. What if I said instead that x equals -3 and y equals -6? Well, then my coordinate is -3, -6. They're answers. So I'm always allowed to substitute 0 at any time. And what that happens is then I go down from two variables to one variable. One of my variables will be equal to 0. My other variable will just be equal to, well, whatever happens after I solve. Now, unfortunately to make a line, I need 2 points. So I need to write this again. Whoops. So let's go 2x plus 3y equals 6. And this time, well, I replaced y with 0 the first time. So now let's replace x with 0, and let's see what happens. Now, obviously 2 times 0 is 0, so I'm not even going to write it. I don't even see what's the point of writing it, because why do I care about nothing? So divide by 3 on both sides, and y equals 2. So if y equals 2, x equals 0, what's my coordinate? 0, 2. See, now I can draw a little graph here. Oops. try that again. Draw a little graph here. And I'll just make a couple of tick marks. Let's make 3 tick marks. Right there. And let's see. 3, 0. 1, 2, 3. And I don't move the x. I'm not going to move up or down. 0 for x, so I'm not going to move left or right. And I'm going to move 2 spaces up. There's my line. I wonder, though. If I can just focus right here. You know, because if I'm looking at it, this looks kind of the same to me. You know, I wonder if there's a pattern here. What is a pattern? Like, I wonder, like, if I want to know just what the point is on the x-axis, I wonder if I can just divide this answer 6 by the coefficient for x. Like 6 over 2. Looks like I get 3. It looks like the point's on the x-axis. If I want to know a point on the y-axis, you know, maybe I can just divide the answer 6 by the coefficient 3, which is 2. And look, that's the point on the y-axis. Maybe there's a pattern here. Let me show you something, kids. There's a shortcut to this. A big shortcut. A shortcut that will so help you. Watch this, kids. I know the point on the x-axis immediately because I'm going to take the answer. I'm going to draw a fraction line. I'm going to write the answer in the numerator, which is 24. I'm going to write the coefficient for x in the denominator. And 24 divided by 4 is 6. Guess what, kids? Let's extend that a little bit. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the point on the x-axis. Now, if I want to know a point on the y-axis, I'll do the exact same thing. I'll draw a fraction line. I'll write the answer in the numerator, 24, and I'll write the coefficient for y in the denominator. The coefficient for y is negative 3. So 24 divided by 3 is negative 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 spaces down. Yeah, look, my 2 points. That looks really easy. I'll try another one so you understand a little bit better. So let's go 3x minus, I don't know, let's go make it 5y equals negative 30. Okay? So let's see. I got I'll just write this in advance. I'll write x, I'll write y, I'll write equal sign, and I'll write a line here. Okay? Let's see. So the answer always goes in the numerator, so I'll just write the answers now. The coefficient for x was my denominator, that's 3. The coefficient for y, negative 5, that'll be my denominator for y. And let's just divide and see what happens. That's all I have to do. 30 divided by 3 is 10. 30 divided by negative 5 is negative 6. And guess what, kids? Those are my 2 points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. X equals 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Negative 6. And look, there's my line. Pretty easy, kids. So when you're dealing with intercepts, as long as you have x and y on one side of the equation, you can just divide the answer by the coefficient. Ooh, that was negative 30. Ha, let me change that. That's better. One of the beauties about making a video is I can change the equation whenever I want. So keep this in mind, kids. As long as you have x and y on the same side of the equation, you can always divide the answer by the coefficient, and that'll give you that point on that axis. It's a really quick shortcut, and it's really, really effective. I hope this helps.